I don't understand why they would say, oh, look, it's a brilliant new approach, and then say, I'm not available for interviews, but they're not. So let's talk to someone who does actually know about education. He's the chairman of the Campaign for Real Education, Chris McGovern. Welcome, Chris. Why would you think that Bridget Phillipson and her gang would make this big announcement yesterday? Oh, it's going to revolutionise apprenticeships, a whole new approach. It's amazing. It's going to sort out all of the country's problems. So people like me go, OK, great. Well, why don't you come on to our major national breakfast show and tell us all about it? Oh, no one's going to come on. Why would you think that would be the case?
Yeah, I've dealt with the education department for decades, you know. Look, what they've come to here is a no-brainer. I mean, we should be training young people for jobs which are going to serve the country's economy. And what Bridget Phillipson is saying is, of course, it's welcome, because we need to have more young people training to be engineers, builders, nurses, and so forth. And also, Labour Party, the Labour government, as previous governments, are confronted with the fact that we need immigrants to fill the gaps in our skills, and that means that we have to bring people in to work in the health service, to work in engineering and construction and all sorts of jobs. We need to be training our own young people. It is a no-brainer. But what I would say, Kevin, is that it's a bit of a sticking plaster, really, because what the government should really be looking at is what happens quite early on in secondary school. I would say that probably at least from the age of 14, children should be allowed to go on either a vocational training curriculum pathway or an academic pathway. Some schools, Switzerland's an example, they do it at 11. You either go academic or you go vocational. In China, they do it at 14. But certainly, yeah, it's good to say we need more apprenticeships, we need more support for skills, job-related skills. But actually, we need to be doing it much earlier. And this government, again, is a sticking plaster. We need to look at comprehensive schools and convert them to bilateral schools, so that in a comprehensive school, you can go on a vocational pathway or you can go on an academic pathway. Both are valid. We need both, but we desperately need more training in vocational education.
Yeah, they're talking about promising a total of 120,000 new training opportunities for construction workers, engineers, healthcare staff and other trades. This is all promised before the next general election. I mean, what's the backstory here, Chris? Is it that we've been getting it wrong, that we haven't been sort of singling out pupils who perhaps are more geared towards, you know, vocational careers for learning skills than perhaps academic work? Have we not been getting that right until now?
We certainly haven't been getting it right, Kevin. We're very snobbish in Britain, you know. We value the academic side of things very highly, and we tend to look down on getting your hands dirty. And that's a particularly British trait, I think. Funnily enough, after the Second World War, 1945, the Education Act then did set up technical schools. There was a tripartite system of grammar schools for the academic, and there were secondary modern schools, but there were also a technical school, but they never really got off the ground. So the instincts, even in 1945, were that we should have technical schools. We've got a real problem here, because unlike most of the rest of the world, we don't provide for children, young people, whose aptitude is not academic. And we've got a crazy idea that somehow, if you're like me, a historian, I'm somehow superior to a bricklayer or a plumber or an electrician. Well, I'm not. And we need to get over this attitude. And young people need to be told and shown that they can go and become a plumber, an engineer, a builder, whatever, and they can get a very good lifestyle, a very good salary, and it's not inferior. I mean, you know, I look up to engineers, I look up to electricians, and they tell me how much I've got to pay them. And look, we've got a problem in terms of estimations of how we view people. It's a very British characteristic. We've got to get over it. And so, look, I'm not going to criticise Phillipson, but she has stated the obvious. We need more skills training in this country, but it just needs to start a bit earlier, I think.
Well, the last point about Ms. Phillipson, she came in when she was appointed to this lofty position, Secretary of State for Education. I mean, she's from Newcastle. She's got the fire burning within her. She's a socialist, you know. So her big announcement, first, of course, she's been right behind her the VAT move with private schools, so she's caused havoc in the private school industry, unnecessary in my view. Also, her first move, which I found very disconcerting, was her first announcement. She came in, she inherited something called the Freedom of Speech on Campuses Act. So this was something that Rishi Sunak brought in to basically enshrine the right to freedom of speech on university campuses. Bridget came in and said, I don't like the sound of that, I'm cancelling that, I don't want freedom of speech on university campuses. Do you trust this woman? Do you think she is the right person to be our Secretary of State for Education?
Kevin, I've dealt with a large number of Secretaries of State over the last 30, 40 years. With the possible extension of David Blunkett, I haven't been impressed, not even by Michael Gove, who's highly lauded. I advised Michael Gove. No, he was highly lauded, but I don't think he did much good either. Is she up to the job? Of course she's not. She doesn't know very much about education. She would never listen to the likes of me in the campaign for real education because we won't tell her what she wants to hear. The free speech issue in universities is incredibly important, but she doesn't want to hear certain students saying certain things, so she clamps down on that as well. You know, we need an open debate, and some of these ministers and secretaries of state need to cast the net a bit wider and take ideas from people who perhaps don't toe the establishment line. You can find everything in education. You can find politics. You can find arguments. You can find statistics. You can find something in everything. But what you can't find in education is the truth. You never get the truth. You can look as hard as you like. You get a load of statistics and a load of advertising of a massaging of the truth. And we need to face up to the fact that this country is in serious difficulty educationally. We are falling behind many other parts of the rest of the world, particularly in Asia. We're about 3 years behind by the age of 15. And if we want to see our economy in 20 years' time, we look at our education system today and know it's not up to scratch. And Bridget Phillipson doesn't understand that. She's a politician. She's a career politician. Never mind what she says, look at what she's doing, and we're getting nowhere, and we're getting nowhere fast. We've got to catch up with the rest of the world.
You confirmed the concerns that I have about Bridget Phillipson. Thank you so much, Chris McGovern, Chairman of the Campaign for Real Education there.